Well, hello, friends. Mark Holmes here with my buddy Cowboy Joe Boo, and as always, thank you guys for watching, commenting, and subscribing to the Joe Boo Sports Report. Without you guys, this literally does not work. Let's get open for business here, and let's wake up the football gods here. And we're sitting here 125 days, 1 hour, 40 minutes, and 33 seconds from kickoff of the 2019 season. And I'm getting set up for our live stream coming up at 9 o'clock Eastern. Be sure to tune in. We'll be talking about what else? The Dallas Cowboys. And I got to tell you, we've got some things that are looking really, really good, and some players that are really getting back in shape and getting into the flow. But I've been sitting here thinking about Lyle Collins. Lyle Collins has been let down by the team in a lot of regards because of the changing in coaching, changing of schemes, changing of positions, that it's been hard for him to get himself on the level that he should be at. He should have been a first round draft pick, but due to things beyond his control, he went undrafted. The Cowboys were fortunate enough to be able to sign him and get him into the fold. But to go from left guard and move around to tackle and things like that, being injured, it stunted his growth much in the way that Byron Jones did. Byron Jones, they kept moving him around from safety to corner, corner to safety, and things like that. And it really slowed and stumped his progress. So be that as it may, I think the Dallas Cowboys learned something from last year's situation with Dez Bryant. The problem and the bottom line with football is it's a business. And you only have so much money to go around. And you can't pay everybody. If you could, Jerry Jones, believe me, he would be bringing in every top free agent there was to make sure that he gets that Super Bowl ring. But you can't do that. It doesn't work that way. So you have to figure out which are the guys that I cannot live without, and which are ones that I can take a step back on talent or bring in somebody who's younger and less experienced and make a go and still be good with. And that's where we are, I think, with Lyle Collins. Because we've got the debate right now. Do you pay Dak? Do you pay Zeke? You got Emmitt Smith saying, he's a franchise running back who's done everything. You got to pay the man big time. Of course, then there's the other camp that says, franchise quarterbacks are hard to come by. Talk to the Washington Redskins on that one, who just spent a number one pick on a quarterback again after not that long ago spending 3 number ones in a second on a quarterback. On top of spending $70-some million for one that may never play again. So getting a quarterback and getting him in your fold and being able to keep him is paramount, especially when you see guys like Tom Brady and Drew Brees and Ben Roethlisberger and quarterbacks really hitting their strides in their mid and late 30s. So for the long game, you got to sign a quarterback. Well, in the same regard, what you're also realizing is when quarterbacks have a really good running game, it makes it that much easier. Drew Brees was throwing for over 5,000 yards 3 seasons in a row, but we're 7-9. It wasn't until he had Alvin Kamara and they were able to have a balanced attack and keep him healthy and upright that they really started winning and being the team that they are right now. So clearly, it's a not what if, it's both. You need both. Because if it were just about running backs, Adrian Peterson would have a fistful of them. Barry Sanders would have a fistful of them. But they don't. But the reality is you've got to figure out where to pay. The problem the Cowboys had last year was they learned that with Dez Bryant, because Dez Bryant's cap number was $16 million for a wide receiver who, for 3 years, really couldn't stay on the field. And so the question is, do you pay that guy, or do you end up getting that money and using it elsewhere to bring in other talent? And that's where they made the decision that we have to get more talent. It's strength in numbers. We're better off having a Cam Fleming and Alan Hearns and bringing in some of the other people that they did than Dez Bryant. Now, the thing that they messed up on was they knew what they needed to do. They knew they had to move on from Dez Bryant, but they didn't have the backup plan for it. They didn't have somebody who was already in the system that was ready to take over. You understand what I mean? And we were fortunate that we got Amari Cooper, because you can look at the receivers that have been drafted early in the draft. Since like Amari Cooper's been drafted, he's the only one that's really doing well. The only one I believe that's been to a Pro Bowl. The fact that we got that guy is amazing, especially at his age. We lucked out, flat out. But you don't get lightning in a jug very often. And that's where the Cowboys are realizing, okay, if you're going to get rid of somebody, you need to plan ahead of getting rid of that person. You need to get somebody who's younger, hence draft pick, who's ready to step in, or in a year or two be ready to step in. Because ultimately, you could sign your draft class twice for what you were playing Dez Bryant. Let me say it again. You could play your draft class twice with what you were playing Dez Bryant. So it behooves you to continue for that 4 or 5 years when they're on that rookie contract to build your team and have it full of those young guys. And here's the problem for Lyle Collins. Lyle Collins is one of the top paid right tackles. I love Lyle Collins. I think Lyle Collins is a good player. But the Cowboys are looking at not doing another deal for him next year. One, because if he goes and signs a big contract elsewhere, and believe me, tackles will get paid, then they can get a compensatory pick. If they can do something this year, they save $8.5 million. $8.5 million goes a long way to Dak and Zeke, keeping those guys. And what they've done is, Connor Williams, they told him, you're eventually going to be moved to tackle. Let me say it again. Connor Williams wants to play tackle. Connor Williams, looking like the Blue Hulk right now, has put on weight. Looks like a tackle. Then you invested your 3rd round pick on another nasty guard and another Connor McGovern. Connor McGovern, who could be a plug-and-play guy right now. And so you start looking at that and you say, okay, if we plug in Connor McGovern at guard right now, with Connor Williams, who wants to be a tackle, to tackle, we're not going to spend $9 million, almost $10 million on a guy to sit on the bench. We can take those resources and spread them elsewhere. So the game you have to play is, how much of a big step down will that be? And is it $8.5 million worth? And that's not the only place that they're planning for in the future. You look at a pick like Tristan Hill. You have Collins, Malik Collins, in the middle, who's had some injury history, who next year needs to be paid. Now you got Tristan Hill, who can be that next guy to take over. And that doesn't only bode well there, you also look at as well as Tyrone Crawford. Because Tyrone Crawford is another one of those ones that $9 million hit this year could be a cap saving of 5.5. And I'm not suggesting that they should cut any of these guys, but I can guarantee you that these discussions are going on, and that's why you pick players where you do. That, and the Rams basically gashed us for about 240 yards rushing in the playoffs and killed our season. But this is where the Dallas Cowboys have learned from past mistakes. They've learned a lot from past mistakes. They've learned about overpaying free agents to come in. They've learned about over trading for guys. Now, you could look and say Amari Cooper, giving up a number one for him was kind of a steep price. But evidently, Will McClay must have said he's worth it. Because that guy, it's like he's King Midas. Everything he touches turns to gold. Let's hopefully hope that it turns to sterling silver in a Super Bowl trophy. So tonight, 9 o'clock Eastern, tune in, be part of our live stream. We'll be talking about the Dallas Cowboys, this situation right here. A week from today, the rookies start working out at the Star. And the situation with Dak, Zeke, who's going to get paid next. We got not Amari Cooper, Trayvon Austin. Did you see that run in practice? Him going down about 50 yards downfield like he shot out of a cannon. If that guy could just stay healthy, that and more tonight at 9 o'clock. I'll see you guys then.